Coming off a playoff appearance, Brent Venables extended by the Oklahoma Sooners. He lost a home playoff game, but that's okay. Getting there is an accomplishment in and of itself. I'm sure that's how Jay Smith of Locked On Sooners sees it. What was your reaction to the extension for a guy who we last saw lose a game that he coached? I'm being completely unfair, but that's just because I know you can take a jab.
That's 100% so unfair, and it's okay. That's why my handle is Unfair Sports, because sports are unfair.
Sports are unfair.
I digress.
Just wait until officiating is affecting our lives again.
Oh, God, it's about to come. I'm about to have a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds just destroy my emotional stability. So, yes,
not as bad as the guys in zebra outfits are going to.
That is a very fair point. They're the worst. But no, we're here. I'm so excited. And truthfully, when I saw the extension, I had to go look and see how long it was. So it appears they're adding 2 years to his current deal, similar to what they did last time. Gets him to 2031. Average about $10.5 million a year, which puts him at roughly 5th to 6th in the SEC. So he didn't move up that far. Now, granted, that's still one of the highest paid coaches in college football in general, but the SEC has a lot of high paying people. Kirby's at 13, Lane's at 13, Sark's at like 12 or 11. Elko is like 7 or 8, right? Like DeBoer
Lanning's in the 11 range, 10 and a half, 11 range.
DeBoer is in the 10-7 range. So he's in that area. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, so your goal was to get him not only in the market number because he's made a playoff, and this is arguably his best team he's had since being at Oklahoma. Last year they made it to a playoff. They should be able to replicate that. But it also made me think about the recruiting aspect of it. 2027 class is the one that they're pushing now. This extension makes it to where he makes it the entire 4 years those 27 kids are in there. So if it goes to 2031, he's basically lined up with his recruiting class. And he's basically 2 years longer, 1 year longer than Jim Nagy, the general manager. So they kind of line them up, it feels like. And that goal was to make sure that stability was important in a world where instability is just a constant thing in college football.
Yeah, I understand that angle of it. I still continue to believe, because it continues to be true, that agents run circles around athletic departments all the time. And they know how to drum up the right type of noise, the right type of buzz, paint the right type of pictures, and coaches get these deals. I mean, perfect example. Matt Rule was a candidate for the Penn State job, and I don't think Matt Rule's done a bad job at Nebraska. He hasn't. He got an extension off the back of that, and I think a lot of us would look around and go, well, just because you've done a good job doesn't mean you deserve increased security and an increased level of pay. So And I don't think that Venables and Rule are one-to-one. Venables has obviously done a better job thus far turning Oklahoma around after Lincoln Riley left than Matt Rule has, though Matt Rule has done a good job at Nebraska without question. So what I am curious about, well, I know you're not sure about that, but they hadn't made a bowl game since 2016.
That is fair. That is fair. They also pushed out the last guy to win 9 games for them, right? So yeah, I get it.
You mean Mike Riley back in the day, but I don't think that was the current athletic director, so I don't think you can hold him accountable for the sins of their predecessors there. But to bring this back to Brent Venables, Jay, let's say that most Oklahoma fans, unless those, or aside from those listening to or watching this segment, obviously, are not thinking about that timeline, and they just hear coach extended, made playoff for first time. And that's not an unreasonable thing. I don't think Oklahoma fans should be up in arms at this or anything like that. But what for this upcoming season to you would make it feel worth it or justified as opposed to a negative optic situation for Oklahoma?
Playoffs and a win in the playoffs. That's basically what he needs to do to, I guess you could say, quote unquote, codify a lot of people's feelings when it comes to this. But pacify is probably a better word to use in that situation. But yes, playoffs and a win in the playoffs would probably calm everybody down in this one. Because like you mentioned, With Nebraska, the athletic director there, you can't really blame him for the sins of the previous person. Well, Oklahoma has a new AD as well. And I think Roger Denny in this situation looked at how the season went, looked at the culture there and said, you know what? Let's push this out. Continue to build what you're doing because I see your vision. I see what you're doing. And you're actually heading in a direction that makes me happy as well. Same thing with everybody else in the front office and everything they're building at Oklahoma. Heck, Todd McShay was over on the Brandon Walker show at Barstool, and he was talking about a lot of the NFL people believe that most colleges are trying to build their front office and model it similar to what Oklahoma's doing with Nagy and what he's doing and all the additional people that he's got in there. So it appears that they're doing some things right if everybody's really looking at them saying, hey, that's almost the gold standard or the gold standard right now because they're actually building something people feel is sustainable. And on top of that, you're 100% right about the agent piece. Agents will drum up anything to make people have to just shell out more money for them. I don't think this is one of those scenarios because I don't think anybody was pushing to get Brent Venables. I truly believe this was Roger Denny saying, hey, yes, I'm the new AD, but don't worry. I'm not going to fire you quickly. I'm going to give you time because you've shown that you've built something that actually no one's been able to do here since you were actually here last. Oklahoma hasn't had a defense since Brent Venables was here. He came back and did the exact same thing he did there. So they're like, all right, cool. Now you got to figure out hiring the proper person on offense or making sure that Ben Arbuckle is that dude. Because at some point, as a defensive-minded coach, your OC's gone. I do not believe Brent Venables will be lucky enough to be like Kurt Signetti at Indiana, where he's going to have an offensive-minded guy that's going to be with him for 10 years. I don't think it's possible. Not today's landscape because schools value offensive masterminds more than they do defensive guys. And so you see those guys get hired so quickly. So I actually think Arbuckle, if he has a really good year this year, he's gone in 2 years. And so Brent Venables right back on the horse, finding another person. Well, and the one thing Sooner fans won't like is hiring internal. Yeah, exactly. It is. But
yeah, that's, Saban did it for a long time. The fact that Indiana kept both their coordinators after a national championship is a modern marvel. I don't know if the wrong jobs were available for Bryant Haynes. There's no way he didn't get phone calls, and maybe he's just waiting for the perfect job. Maybe he's waiting for
similar to BV. That's how BV was at Clemson
because
he
didn't refuse to leave. Like, why aren't you going anywhere? What do you do? Your profile is high. You're proven to be one of the best at your position, and then he waited for the Oklahoma job. And he got it. Maybe Bryant Haynes really wants Florida State. Maybe he really wants Clemson. Maybe he really wants, an SEC job, and he thinks someone's going to be out. And, well, there were a lot of SEC jobs last cycle. Maybe he wasn't a candidate. I don't know. I want to get you out of here on this, though, Jay. Mm-hmm. Week 2, game of the week in college football. I believe Game Day's already said they're going to be in Ann Arbor. Did they make that?
A Big Noon will be there. I don't know if they're going to be. No, they're going to be at Texas. They're going to be at Ohio State.
You're
Texas.
right. You're right. Yeah, they'll be Ohio State,
so
Texas.
Fox will be because it's Big Noon anyway. Yep. They will be in Michigan.
I got my weeks crossed up there. But so the second game of the week in week 2 of college football, Oklahoma travels to Michigan. I made my Michigan record prediction earlier on this segment or on this show, Jay, not on this segment. But I took Michigan to beat Oklahoma at home. Week 2, our friends at FanDuel have it as Michigan minus 1.5.
It's dropped.
I'm just saying. Am I nuts? Am I hating on Oklahoma here?
No, I don't think you're hating, but I think you're looking at it wrong. So if Michigan is a 1.5 point favorite in this game, that means Oklahoma would be a 4.5 point favorite at home?
I think roughly? It's worth 3, so it'd go to
about
5.5.
It's about 6 point swing. Yeah. So the same as it was last year, where Oklahoma was a 4.5 point favorite at home. So basically the exact same thing we got last season. I think what helps for Oklahoma is because that'll be the same swing, which makes sense. You would give Michigan a little bit of favoritism because they are at the big house, and it makes sense. For Oklahoma, the helping thing for them is twofold. One, Brent Venables is really good against young quarterbacks. 2, Underwood has a new offensive coordinator going up against a Brent Venables defense. And 3, they have a whole new regime there. So to me, Oklahoma lucked out getting them the second week of the season. If it was week 7, I would be here probably with you at this being a lot tougher game, and there's a possibility Oklahoma loses it. But because it's week 2, and this is really just them getting everything together early, I don't think Michigan's going to be. I think Michigan's going to look like they did last season against Oklahoma, and the defense dominates for Oklahoma. Mateer just does enough, even though he's done well in very hostile environments on the road at 100,000 fans with Tennessee and Alabama, and that he didn't even really have a thumb. So I think that that's going to be the helping thing on there. And if Oklahoma's run game is what I've been hearing about in fall camp, and they're able to run the ball, it'll be a similar score as last game. I think it'll be like a 28-14.
Here's the here's a thought that I had that I'm just gonna put out there and just let everybody kind of hang with, because I'm probably missing one. But in the last 2 years, Kyle Whittingham has lost the biggest game on his schedule every year. Last year it was Texas Tech and BYU. Lost them both. Year before, when they had a down season, what was the big game? Rivalry against BYU. Lost that one too. Maybe there's different juice in Ann Arbor for him, but it has not been. It's been close. Not like he's getting blown out, but he's not one. Okay. You have. Let me do some quick math here. You have about 19 days to change my mind. You have 19 days to change my mind. I'm open to suggestions. Jay Smith, Locked On Sooners, great as always. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time, and until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.